On this second Sunday of the Lenten season, if I may share with you once again a little bit of my grandmother's wisdom. I said one of these days I might run out, but maybe not. My grandma was a pretty smart lady. By the time I got to 25, she was brilliant. That's just the way of life, I think. One day I was really upset. Nothing was going right. You ever have a day like that when nothing goes right? Do you know what I mean? Everything is wrong. I mean, everything was going wrong. And let's face it, for a little guy, what can go wrong, right? Everything. Somebody took my dinosaur. Everything was just, I just wasn't a happy guy. And so grandmother came and she looked at me because I wouldn't stop talking. Can't help that. I'm in the right profession. I wouldn't stop talking. And she comes and she grabs my cheeks. You ever have somebody do that when you were, no matter what age, right? David, and I just, David, listen to me. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. So she said, you'll be all right. And I wonder, the passage before the Transfiguration that we heard this morning, Jesus announced to his disciples that the Son of Man must suffer and be killed and rise from the dead. And I wonder if the Transfiguration wasn't the answer of God the Father to Jesus, who said, you'll be all right. And we will show your followers who they will become. And that's why that same voice echoed from his baptism. This is my chosen son. Listen to him. Listen to him. Just like Abram was fretting. God said to Abram, I will take care of you. And Jesus said, really, is that my task? Is that, Father, is that my mission? To suffer and to be killed? And God said, yes, and you will rise, and I will raise you. Isn't that the truth in our lives? That you and I need to listen to his voice. It is that same beautiful voice of God who says, I will not abandon you. I will raise you up. And that's what God says to us on this second Sunday of the Lenten season. That God will raise us up too. And so what is asked of us during this great time is that we change our lives. That we find out what is it that blocks us from really listening. What is it that blocks us from really listening to that voice in our lives? Do we really desire to change? In closing, I said this on Ash Wednesday, but I can, now that I can actually speak with you this Sunday, I can share just one thing that I said as I was driving to Ash Wednesday Mass. I said, God, what do I want to change in my heart? And I found something that I wanted to change in my heart. I said, I got to change this Lent. And folks, there was only one trouble. It was the same thing as last Lent. I was embarrassed. I said, David, right out in the car, I said, David, you've got to be kidding. Wow. I have been called many things in my life. I've been called stubborn. My father called me a bonehead. I shouldn't tell you any of these things. My grandmother called me willful. That's another story another day. In my spiritual life, I think that's what it is. Lent after Lent after Lent, we come back and we're looking at the very same things, but do we really want to transform our life? Do we really want to become whom Peter and James and John saw? Do we really want to be open to the God who says, I will not abandon you to death. I will raise you up. I will give you life. Isn't that what we seek? Is the new life this holy season. May that be truly ours. May that be our life. And finally, the only homework that I would have is that you find somebody's cheeks and do this. Imagine find a teenager, really. Can you imagine? Because I'll never forget what my grandmother's hands felt like. I hope we never forget what God's hands feel like on our face when we are upset, when we think there is no hope. I pray we can be open to feeling God saying to us, listen to me. I love you. What a beautiful gift to share this second Sunday in our Lenten journey. Amen.